So, good morning, everyone. I am joined today by my good friend Stella Vallitutto with CFO Connections. I know a lot of you have probably seen the same place I did. I feel like every networking group I'm involved in, we bump into each other, secured finance, and then the Center Club quite a bit. So, Stella, welcome this morning. I hope you and the family are doing well.
Everyone is well. Thank you for asking. I hope you are well as well.
Yeah, we are. We're doing great. We just got back from a wedding, got to see some family, all good.
Okay.
I'm going to take a quick minute here. I'm going to share my screen so we can get your website up. But why don't you take a minute and tell everyone on the watching the video today who you are and what CFO Connections does specifically.
Absolutely, Dennis. So my name is Stella Vallitutto. I'm a CPA. And for those who don't know me, I usually like to tell people that I am a recovering auditor. So I was an auditor for a very long time. And I wanted to, I've gained a great set of skills. But what I found was that being an auditor, I was limited to what I was able to do for my clients. And now, as a consultant, I can throw all those rules out the window. I'm able to help my clients be much more effective. Actually, able to sit down right next to them, roll up my sleeves, dig into the details, help them implement strategies. So it's really rewarding work. So that's kind of what I do. A lot of the times, I feel like what I do is really less of the technical debits and credits,
Yeah.
but really more offering some kind of calmness in a whole sea of chaos. A good example would be right now as businesses trying to navigate back to, I guess, normal, right? I don't know if we'll ever get back to like the pre-COVID-19 normal.
Yeah.
But as they try to ramp up again, there's a lot of things that, they have to think about it very differently compared to how things were working before. So there's a lot of like conversations that I think business owners, need to have with their advisors and really just kind of partner with them and take them through this kind of transition back to a new normal. So, the PPP is a good example, is something that I think a lot of businesses are dealing with right now. So, and it's very chaotic. I mean, for those of us who are in the process, we know the rules are constantly changing. You think the rule, today, tomorrow it may change. And,
Sure.
a lot of times business owners, they really just want to run the business. They don't want to have to deal with all this compliance and making sure that all the documentations are gathered and things like that. So being able to be there and just be effective and offer them some assistance and calmness in this whole chaotic environment, I feel that is what gets me to get up every day and continue to do the work that I do. So in a nutshell, I'm kind of like the bridge between where you were and where you want to go.
All right. So I know there's a lot of talk about fractional CFOs and part-time CFOs, and you clearly have the professional background for it. So that's part of the reason that I connected with you is I knew you knew what you were doing. You've been a good resource for, I know, a lot of your clients instantly, and all of a sudden overnight people figured out that, hey, I've got to track things that I wasn't used to tracking. So I've seen that with my own clients trying to figure out resources. So having somebody like you on hand and available, I think is awesome. So one of the things that I wanted to capture, and this is what we run into. So you made a comment to me a while back. I think it's been almost a month now, but it was the conversation about money doesn't wait. And ever since you said that to me, it's kind of rung in my head a little bit because I've had so many clients that have said they've kind of gotten caught in the trap. So in the benefits world, a little bit different, but it's a very similar situation that we wait until we get the renewal. A lot of our current vendors, they wait till the carrier that they're with brings the renewal to the table. They've got like 60 days. And that's a pretty short window of time when you're looking at making a transition. And so by the time they get to deciding, hey, I want to go a different path, they've run out of time to really bring all of the stakeholders along with them, all of their employees or associates, whatever we're dealing with. it's hard for them to get all the communication out, and they make a decision to kind of stay where they're at. And so they miss this great opportunity sometimes to actually make a pivot in a better direction for their organization. So that's what I run into. But you actually shared a more significant story pre-COVID and post-COVID, or during COVID, and just kind of how it impacted someone that you were working with. So do you mind sharing that kind of money doesn't wait conversation that we had?
Yeah, Dennis, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think, it takes money to run a company. It takes money to grow. It takes money to, to beat your competitors, right? So with money comes opportunity. So without money, a lot of the times you can't really take advantage of opportunities, right?
Sure.
So this is a very interesting experience that, I've had, I want to say maybe about 18 to 20 months ago. And I was helping this company out, and they're in a very fast growing, very interesting industry. And they had investors lining out the door and say, we're ready to give you our money. So this company decided that going public is the way to go. Well, the reason that I was involved was because the prior accountant in the company didn't keep the books up. Myself, together with two other consultants, this is how behind they were.
Wow.
Three of us, it took the three of us to help them get caught up with the bookkeeping, the preparation of the financial statements, getting through the audits with the auditors, dealing with underwriters, dealing with management, dealing with attorneys. So it's a very, very time-consuming and expensive process, as it is if you're prepared. But because this company was so far behind in their accounting, and COVID-19 hit, and also that there was some kind of bad news going on in the press about the industry. So now the investors are kind of pulling back, right? So they're saying, just let me just watch this for a little bit more. I'm gonna hang tight, and we'll talk a little bit later. I wanna just sit back and see where this is going.
Yeah.
So I was helping them probably for a good 6 to 8 months for that process. And at the end of the day, their dreams of being a public company didn't come to fruition because all the investors decided that, this is the timing has passed.
Sure.
Things have cooled off, and we wanna just sit back and sit tight and see where this industry is going. And, if had they been proactive the couple years before and had everything all ready and up to date, they would have been able to speed up that process of going public. And who knows what would happen? They might have a chance to go public.
Sure.
But they were having to play catch up, a lot of catching up. And sometimes, catching up is expensive, right? Both in terms of time and the opportunity cost, but also sometimes you don't really have the time to get caught up, which is exactly what happened with this company. It's like, by the time we get caught up, it's just not happening. We knew that it's just not gonna happen. So, the moral of the story is always, and this is kind of, what I'm preaching with my clients and business owners that I come into contact with is, let's think about where you're at right now. Let's think about where you want to go. And chances are where you want to go is going to take some resources, right? So think about what you need to have in place right now from an accounting and finance point of view, so that you can get those resources lined up at the time that you need it. And, having accurate and up-to-date bookkeeping, having accurate and timely financial statements, no matter how big or small your company is, you never know where your company is going to go.
Sure.
3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And having all those records and be proactive about it it sends a message to investor that, you're credible, you're for real. You're not running this thing out of your basement. You have your accounting up to date, everything is accurate. You have somebody that's helping you with getting all of that together. So it speaks volume in terms of your intent and what type of business owner you are.
Sure.
So I mean, this is a very interesting story, and I wish that time was on their side, but unfortunately, it just wasn't.
Yeah,
So
we never know when there's, COVID is probably, we don't know if there'll be more episodes or something like it. There's always probably going to
right,
be something that's going to come in and
right,
disrupt the market. This just happens to be COVID. And I know, it's frustrating to hear companies that could have capitalized on a big opportunity and lose that
right,
window because of an unforeseen, just overnight, right? Everything changed. So,
right,
but it's crazy to think that something like that couldn't happen again. And I am
right.
amazed constantly at how many businesses function, and frequently when you start digging into the books, they
Yeah,
don't have it. But for all the
yeah.
PPP money and the CARES Act and all those components, they required basic accounting. And I think
You're absolutely right.
it has
You're
exposed a
absolutely
lot of
right.
employers that didn't have those basic components
Yeah.
in place. So
And it's funny you mentioned the PPP because, going back, 2 months ago when the PPP program first came out, the first round, it was like everybody was gunning for it because we didn't know if there was going to be a second round. We
yeah,
knew the money was going to be running out quickly. And like you said, it requires financial information if you want to apply for that loan. Well, if you didn't have that ready, you're already behind the eight ball. And by the
yeah,
time you're ready, that money could have run out, and that
yeah.
could have a real impact on the survival of your business.
Well, the same.
um
I also found relationships in that situation helped immensely with my clients. So
Absolutely.
having
Yep.
connections. So that's why I'm doing a lot of these videos with people like you, Stella. So my partners, my relationships, the people that I know, find people that they know they can trust and reach out to. And so I've
Yeah.
got your contact information up here. I think that component or that thought process of money doesn't wait. I hope that resonates and kind of rings in people's heads that
Right.
now is the time. If your accounting's not right, there's never a too soon to get started and fix things. There's
Right.
never a too soon to get started with the right conversations with the right partners.
Absolutely.
And so that's a message that I'm constantly preaching. And I want my clients to not wait. Our clients, we're looking at renewals months ahead.
Yeah.
It's not 60 days out. So we have the ability to take advantage of every opportunity in the market and
Yeah.
really help weather or recession proof, if you want, or crisis proof our plan is and our organization.
Yeah.
So and our
Absolutely.
partners. So that's important for all of us. Is
Yeah.
there anything that you feel like you want to add before we wrap up?
I think that it's important to partner with somebody that kind of jive with you, that you trust, that work well with you. And I think that you mentioned fractional CFOs, right? So there are a lot of us out there,
Sure.
all doing very similar things, and we all have different skill sets. Um, I think all of us are really capable in what we're doing. We all know our debits and credits, right? But I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, this goes back to how you want to be effective with your clients, right? I find that I am very effective with my clients because I have a very strict selection process when it comes to taking on clients. It's the presentation that I show to new clients. Our first meeting, I show this presentation to the new clients. It talks about how we're going to build relationship. It talks about how this is a two-way relationship. It talks about this is a collaborative relationship. It talks about how sometimes you probably don't want to hear things from me that you don't want to hear, but we're going to have those tough conversations. So it's a very different kind of relationship that I have with my clients. And my effectiveness is based on the values that we both share. If we don't share the same values, we won't be working together.
Sure.
So that's how I become effective. So I think the important thing is find somebody that you feel like you mesh well with. um, we're all doing great things out there. Technically, we're all very good, but find somebody that you feel like you can really trust, that you work well with. I think that's going to add a whole lot of value to your business, and having that business partner in your business is really just is very valuable. So
Yeah, it's got to be one of the most important relationships, and they're going to get
yeah,
deep in the weeds with you. So it's important that you know them, trust them, and value their feedback. So I have plenty of people who
absolutely.
garner
Yep.
opinions around me, but I don't always value their thought process. But that is not the case with you. So I appreciate you taking the time to share the message for me and my partners and my clients and my friends and relationships. And I'm excited to get you introduced to them so they can reach out to you. So your information will be up here. We'll get this out as quickly as we can, and feel free to share with whoever you want. But thank you for taking the time, and we wish you and the company and your family and your clients the best as everybody's kind of transitioning back to whatever normal looks like in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me today, and same to you as well.
Thank you.